on doing that. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Foodocracy for Her. I'm your host, Kalyan Karmakar. And Foodocracy for Her is India's longest running and happy to say award-winning podcast focusing on women in the food and beverage industry. As you can see, the format today is a bit different from what we are used to. We've got five people on screen, four of them joining us, and the second male person on Foodocracy for Her, which is my friend Anindo from Calcutta. But it's a rather somber occasion. We are actually going to be talking about someone who's not with us, and probably should have been one of the first people to be interviewed. But since we didn't have that opportunity, we thought that at least through this, let's try to share some of her our memories of her. And I'm talking of the late Pia Promina Dasgupta Barve. I think it's still not registered to use the word late. She passed away on the 21st of July, 2022, Thursday night. I mean, a lot of us got the message, Friday late night, Friday morning, and there was a complete shock, among all of us who were connected with her, either directly, indirectly, or had heard of her. So I will not even attempt to do a biography of Pia, because Pia's been into food, was baking since before anyone on this screen was born. I'm probably the oldest here, or maybe whatever. Yeah, but she was into baking way before any of us was born. I'm going to hyperlink an article by Pita Sen in the Telegraph, which is a very nice sort of coverage of what she's done. So, from baking at a very early age to setting up a catering company with her father, and which led to the restaurant Kewpie in Calcutta, which is like this landmark place for Bengali food. She moved to Mumbai, and where even 4 decades back, she was one of the earliest women to work in the meat packaging industry. So imagine. Then she's also worked with MAFCO, which is the Maharashtra government organization. So not only with meats, but with fruits and produce. I know she would often talk to me about Alfonso mangoes and cashews. Then she had her own bakery, and she worked with like top-end modern superstores, modern retail like Nature's Basket, for example. She was one of the pioneers in terms of both what we call home chefs now, as well as pop-up dining supper clubs. And well into her 70s, she continued working, and her love to feed, her love to talk about food, her love to answer questions is something which we'll probably try to share with you through our individual memories of that. So I'm going to quickly share my memories of her and then introduce the panel. And we've got people from Mumbai and Kolkata joining us today. Again, this is not representative of all the lives she's touched, but that's impossible. But I thought that this would be a great way. So my first encounter with Pia, because and anyone here will agree that you don't meet Pia, you don't come across Pia, you encounter Pia. So I remember I was at this food exhibition at the place in Goregaon in Mumbai, whatever it's called, MAFCO or something. There's a thing for exhibitions, and I've gone there to moderate a panel for Sorish Bhattacharya, who was the organizer. I think it's called Ashirwad or something. So we'd finished, and suddenly we saw this smiling lady, roly-poly lady in a cotton sort of shirt and pants, and wearing a topi, so almost like a Japanese tourist minus the camera, unless she was carrying a camera. But she came up and sort of introduced herself to Sorish and me, and then when she found out that I live in Bandra, she said, "You must come to my bakery. So a week later, I went to a bakery in Bazaar Road, and just by Jeff's, where one would go to buy the kebabs, or there was a fruit wala over there, and then I went into a bakery, and there was just a door, and once you open the door and you go in, you will not believe the world which you'd left outside, a busy Bandra inner road, and you walk in, and there's this serene sort of bakery, and there were one or two women working there with her, and then she was, you've heard of the expression like a child in a candy shop. So, she was like that, but it was her own candy shop. So she was excitedly showing me the biscuits she makes, and there was a birthday home she was catering for the next day for kids, and she was showing me the different sandwiches, the different ideas, and this was like maybe 10 years back, rolled up jam sandwiches, and it was for a vegetarian client. So she was telling me what her different ideas were and all of that. And I'm stressing on vegetarian because she's Bengali. And she's lived in Mumbai for 4 decades, considers herself as a Calcutta girl right till the end. And of course, since then, we've had many interactions at conferences. I've been a guest at her house. Often she's, come up with things and sent it home. And, before the thing has come, I get a call from her, Acha, theek par chobi tul bhi, like take a picture properly. Actually, she would speak to me in English. but so that's the thing about her, that she was in a world which was completely different from the world she was used to, given the fact that she was probably 3 decades elder than all of us. But yet, she had this childlike enthusiasm to sort of, find her place in this world. So she had no hang-ups, like, for example, to send something and say that, okay, take its picture, because she knew that, okay, Instagram is important. So, and these are my nephews and nieces, and I can tell them to do anything, and so stuff like that. And but the reason for doing this adda today is that only my biggest memory of Pia is of her drawing room of her house in Bandra, very close to where I stay. And I remember the first time I'd gone there when she invited me. It was just a casual lunch. A casual lunch in Pia's house has 72 dishes, but it was, it was shukto with lao, and there was ilish mach, and there was dal, and this that. But the moment I walked into in her house, and those of you who've had the privilege of doing that, it struck me like I was away from Mumbai, I was away from Bandra, and I was in a house in maybe South Calcutta, as I remembered it, the Jodhpur Park, or, Balian Circular Road, the slightly posher parts of the slightly more Bondel roads, or the slightly more, upmarket Bengali parts of South Calcutta. And since then, I have been to her house for so many meals, but which were actually addas. And every time I would meet different people who were of different age group, from different communities, sometimes different countries, and that is what a Bengali adda is all about. So while I regret Pia not being able to be in touch with you in these the last 2-3 months, but I thought that an adda is the best way to remember you. And I've got some of your favorite people from your world over here. I'm going to quickly introduce them and then let them do the talking. On the top left of my screen is Reshmi Kurian. She's the only non-foodocracy for her alumni over here. I have known her from the early days of my food blogging. She's a design professional. She was one of the earlier food bloggers in Mumbai, and then wrote a blog called Bombay Chow Party. And then she was and is majorly into baking. And Kainaz and I still fondly remember her, including when we were in Paris and had the babka by the French bastards, which is the name of the place. We don't swear on this show. That Reshmi had made a babka for us. We connected again through our cats. She is a cat parent earlier than I am. And she and her husband now work, on his film production company. But she's one of the many who've interacted with Pia without ever having met her. And we are going to get to know a bit about that side from Reshmi. Reshmi will have to drop off a bit earlier, so I'm going to ask her first. And then on to the right of my screen, assuming that's how you're going to see it, is Tara Deshpande. I've known her first on the screens when I was new to Mumbai, but now she's a very dear friend. Apart from being an actress, she's a food writer. She's written not 3, as she corrected me. She's written 4 books. It's tough to keep count of her, but she's extremely curious about the world of food, extremely loving about the world of food, and loves to sort of share and support. Like whenever I've done something, reached out to her, she's been there, be it articles or events. She's worked very closely with Pia as they're both members of Bombay Gym, and in terms of putting events together. So we're going to hear a bit from Tara as to how it is to work with Pia together. I have a feeling that she might have been a bit of a tornado. So we get that. On the left of the bottom screen is Madhushri and Anindo, husband-wife duo behind the brand Picture Nama. So Madhushri is foodocracy for her veteran from the time when it was Instagram Live, and she waited patiently once when I walked across the house waiting for Wi-Fi signal. Anindo has been wanting to come on foodocracy for her for a very long time, and he's absolutely metrosexual, as they say. So I thought this was a good opportunity. But
very rarely a man can speak about gender bias. Gender bias in your show for a long period of time.
But my show is that. My show is that.
I will start an andolon. If all the Bengali listeners would understand that, what does the revolution mean?
Andolon is Hindi only. Andolan.
Yeah.
It's like
Sanjay Dutt starrer movie.
Yeah. So, but jokes apart, Madhushri and Anindo have been working very closely with Pia right up to her last days on a very special project. And I thought that's, and I didn't know that. I mean, it's how, Providence. I mean, I just reached out to them and they said yes. So we are going to hopefully to them know what was in her mind over the last few months. And finally, last but not least, is Manzilat Fatima. She's known as many things: the biryani queen, Begum, all of that. To me, she's a dear friend who cooks fabulous biryani and loves to feed us. And like all my friends over here, she will always be in touch and check, how I am, how the family is. Mom talks very highly of her. Says she's a very cultured person. So she's foodocracy for her veteran. She was a school's champion in billiards. She's run a business in textile. Then her family legacy. She belongs to the family of Nawaz Wajid Ali Shah, and which she decided to take forward, and which has taken the form of the lovely enterprise called Manzilat. And she's actually worked with Pia, and she's one of the many sort of food entrepreneurs in the current age whom Pia has stood by. So she's going to be representative of them. Emotions can run high today, but remember we are talking of Pia, so she would tell us that not to. So with that, I'm going to first start with Reshmi, simply because she has to drop off in 5 minutes. So and we'll respect that. So Reshmi, when I reached out to you, you said that you wondered if you're the right person because you said you'd never met Pia. I know that both of you are bakers. Tell me a bit about your interaction with Pia. How did you get to know about her? And tell us.
So I think I first actually reached out to her when one of my friends got married to a Bengali, and I wanted to, host a Bengali brunch for them. This was on the Bengali New Year, and then I reached out to her, and she had come recommended highly by someone, I don't remember who.
I think I'd only.
Yeah, it might have. It's possible. It must have
I don't remember, but yeah, I think I remember this occasion. Yes.
And this is quite some time back, and that time we had this long discussion, and she said, "No, if you have this, you must have this. You have this, you must have this. You can't do less. You have to do the entire spiel." And then we sort of, I ordered food from her, and we had loved that food. Of course, after eating it, all of us were sort of like walruses because we ate too much and it was rich and it was delicious, and she was very happy. But that was just the beginning. And then we sort of realized that we had a lot of connections. There were a lot of common friends that we knew. One of my friends from college was somebody who sort of stayed with her for years, was a very dear friend's daughter. One of her nephews is a very close friends of mine and my husband's. So we, over time, realized that we had a lot of connection. But I think more than anything else, what really connected us was we were sort of, the old school, both of us were the old school, unreasonable foodies who thought that if you ate food, you had to eat it a certain way. And when I would order from her, and my guests would not necessarily be like that, right? So we're living in a world where people, they want to eat less, and they don't want to eat too many dishes, and they want it to be healthy. And she would commiserate with me and say, oh my God, it's just so sad that you have to only offer them that, or they'll eat prawns without the head. How is that okay? Or I have to send you crabs that are broken. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Deal with people like this. So it was, and the thing is that I call her. Eventually, I would call her without anything in mind. I just say, Pia, people are coming over, and I want to plan something. And then we'd have great fun. We'd talk for hours. It would be absolute. It would make no sense because my husband will come and we'll say like this, like 1 o'clock at night, what are you doing? And we would have been speaking for hours, just discussing potential ideas for what she could make. And we just have so much fun. She'd tell me about some recipe she found when she traveled last to Goa, something she ate, and then the details of that recipe versus something else, and then what that could pair with or what something else could pair with. And she was just so incredibly generous, generous with her time, generous with her kindness, just, in terms of the attention she paid you, the attention she paid to what you wanted from her, and really, really generous in terms of the food she sent you, because she just refused to believe that people could only eat so much. I would order X amount and she said, no, that's not okay. You have to offer more. And she would send more food without asking me to pay for it. The other sort of common ground we found is because we are bakers, like you said, and I used to bake a lot of eclairs, and a lot of my friends used to really want me to bake those eclairs. And at some point, I stopped baking. And
I just have to break in here saying that Kainaz just loves those eclairs of Pia. I know. Tara, you shared that video of Pia making it, but I don't think we can ever recreate that. Sorry. Yeah. Back to you, Reshmi.
I totally agree. I feel like I'm also a little bit of a snob when it comes to eclair, and like old school in terms of the kind of eclair we used to find in our childhood, not the kind of eclair that the French.
And we're not talking about the Cadbury eclair for people who are wondering. I mean, that's the eclair we knew till we came across that.
Correct. I'm talking about the old-fashioned eclair, which is a pastry stuffed with cream and glazed with chocolate, dark chocolate. And she's the only other person I would trust. I would say, if I'm not making it, this is the person I could get it from, and I know it will be amazing. And it's only later that I realized that she was intensely allergic to chocolate. And I was aghast, and I was like, why didn't you tell me? Why would you not say that? Why would I would just, make it or not order it or get something else from you. But that was Pia. She would just be adamant, and she'd be like, no, it's nothing else. I stand at the door. My boys will make it. I will oversee it. She's not supposed to smell it, but she'd want to, stand away and just sort of look at it from a distance and make sure. But obviously, Pia is not the kind of person who would also do things by half measure. So I would also be worried, and I'd say, are you sure you want to do that? You want to taste it? But yeah, I mean, I can't now. There are so many things that that I crave to eat, and I think of, like, I would eventually I'd order from her just because I wanted to crave something she made. Pork in a certain way, or crabs in a certain way, or these profit rolls. And I know that forever I will never be able to look at those dishes and not think of her. And forever I will crave that flavor, which I know is not just the skill, but it was the essence of her. Somebody who had that, because I think the person you are, and her generosity and her huge amount of love and passion for food, and her joy in interacting with people who love food really came through in what she made and sent. So I know that, for me, that was special. I didn't meet her, but I never felt like I haven't met her. It's very strange. I feel like I know her really, really well. So it's very weird. Like you said, it's very difficult to to come to terms with the idea that
Yeah, I mean, and the word you use, generous, it sums her up so beautiful because this profiterole would be loaded with cream,
yes,
loaded with chocolate, and like you
yes,
said, I mean, she had the allergy, but yet, like for example, if she knew that say she's sending something to us or Kainaz is coming, she'll make it a point to make it. In fact, Tara, when Tara posted the laundry video of her making the eclairs, then one of the last lines over there is that it's been many years since she's tasted it because of also her blood sugar, and she was making it from memory.
yeah,
And that reminded me of of Beethoven, because he did his Ninth Symphony and all of this when he couldn't hear. I mean, it's just so amazing. And what you've described, I mean, you've ordered this, but she's sending you this, and that's why I wanted you, Reshmi, to speak, because there must be so many people whom she's not met and yet have this sort of connection. And the other thing is like all the connections which you discovered. So like I said, I mean, here you've got someone who's in her mid 70s, and here we are in our 40s or 30s or 50s or whatever. And we have common connections. So imagine, I mean, we feel old, or at least I do. But yeah. So with this, I'm going to move on to Tara. Simply because she also might have to drop off earlier, though I think the way the adda is jam-jamoing, as we say in Bangla, they might not if they didn't have pressing commitments, but I appreciate everyone's joining it. So Tara, you've worked with Pia in Bombay Gym and putting these events together. And now Reshmi's just spoken a bit about being on the receiver side, like the diner, of ordering in, or, someone who might have come to Bombay Gym and sat down to have that meal. But how is it to put that meal together, from to conceptualize, to plan, to put it together? How is it, Tara? Like you're from the film industry, and do you think that working with artists in the food industry can be even more maddening than the matinee idols?
She was so energetic. It belied her age. You'd never expect this kind of enthusiasm, zest, this kind of intense ability to work long hours. She put us to shame sometimes, and she had such an in-depth perspective. She was so proud of creating dishes that were really authentic, that she would really go into detail.
yeah.
And she was, she would talk to various people to find out how something has to be made. I mean, here was someone who was Bengali, who was by nature non-vegetarian. And she made some of the best Brahmin vegetarian thalis I've ever eaten in my life.
Her Maharashtrian vegetarian food was just amazing. We ordered it again for my family.
Superb.
Oh yeah.
And she did a thali.
And then we did some of the Jewish food there. Once you called us for dinner to your house, and she'd done some Jewish food also.
Yes. She had made, I couldn't do all the dishes, so I requested her to do some Baghdadi Jewish recipes for me, which of course she did very well. You ate the food. Yes. And so for someone to, do a thali that is so authentically not just Kokanasta, but Deshasta, Chippavan, Saraswat, as I said, it's a real testament to her skill. And she always had a lot of creative ideas. And we had a great team. We all got along really well, and we had a lot of good laughs. And we used to have continuous tasting sessions, because all the food, all the vendors who came to the Bombay Gymkhana, we had to sit and taste all their food. And
Bombay Gymkhana, by the way, is like sorry, Tara, just for everyone, it's like the premier club in Mumbai. So it's probably the equivalent of the Bengal club in Calcutta or something like that. So yeah, go ahead. So,
and if you hear Kalyan, all the members complaining and whining, you won't think it's the best club in Bombay. But anyway, so we'd have to do all these tasting sessions, and there was a lot of stuff she couldn't eat, but just by looking at it, sometimes she could tell, Tara, that's not going to taste like that. You tried and you tell me, am I right? And I tried, and she was always right. She had an instinct, a natural instinct about food. She knew how to put flavors together. She knew how to get that umami into the food that made you want to eat her food again and again. And she was also very helpful to other young chefs, upcoming chefs. She started the regional theme at the Bombay Gymkhana Club. And every month we had a chef who specialized in a particular kind of cuisine from India, family recipes, heirloom recipes, coming in to cook for members. So it'd be a Sunday brunch or a Sunday lunch. And they were real eye-openers because we had so many wonderful cuisines, including Manzila, who came to cook some fantastic food for us. And it opened up, this entire culinary repertoire of India to members who otherwise were mostly used to eating either Indian Chinese food, for which the club is well known, or the usual colonial staples, the eggs Kewpie and the akuri on toast and things like that. So suddenly we had East Indian food coming in, and we had delicious Bengali food and ramen thalis. And we all learned a lot because we'd sit and discuss these cuisines. And so we'd have to research to make sure that what we were putting out there for the members was the real thing. And it was such a pleasure, it was a great learning experience. And of course, Pia is, as you said, she's a tornado. She's very opinionated.
Yes.
So
yes.
I would always think of like my mom when I was talking to her, because it's like, you don't, you get into this like, no, you can't be right, oh no, you are right, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna miss her very much.
And then she wouldn't she wouldn't mind it, like for example, like when I was face to face with her, I mean, you're both Bengali, so you're both opinionated. So, and also what Rashmi was saying about her husband, I remember so many times when she would call up, and then 45 minutes later, Kainaz would come and say, "You're talking to Pia?" I said, "Yeah."
Yes, it was, and I collect antique books, so she would often come over to read some of them, and then give me her opinion on stuff. And I actually, just a few days before she passed away, I was writing an article, and I had called her to get her. I called you too, Kalyan, to get her opinion on something.
The street,
the
street,
And I was amazed like how much she knows. I am
Absolutely.
a Maharashtrian, and I know a little bit about my own Saraswat food, and I know a little bit about other communities, but you never expect someone who's from Calcutta, who's Bengali, to know this much,
She's a Maharashtrian daughter-in-law.
Yeah,
husband whom she calls Brave, Barve. But jokes apart, her Maharashtrian food, vegetarian, was so good. We called it the week after for, my Kainaz's folks and stuff.
Yeah. And it's not easy in a country like India where the language changes, not just with every state, but with every couple of kilometers, the dialect changes. Really, it's very difficult to be an expert on so many different regional cuisines, especially if you don't speak the native language. So she's one of those rare people who just got it. And she could cook Chinese food. She could cook, I could ask her for Singapore crab. I could ask her for Nonya cuisine. I could call her up and say, I want Korean food today. She just understood flavor and taste, It's a very rare gift. And she was, I just loved talking to her because she was so knowledgeable. And I can't believe she's gone, Yeah. She sent me a message just a couple of days before saying, when are you coming to see me? Just a few days before. Let's find a way to get together. I haven't seen everyone on the team for a long time. So I was trying to set it up. And then this happened. So it really hit me quite hard, that sometimes we get so busy in our own lives and we sort of get so wrapped up in our own social media profiles and our whatever kitchens that we're running that sort of we push things to the back of our minds, and then this happens. But one of the things, one of the things about her was that when you're a community, you must care not just about someone's professional successes, but also how they're doing in person, like how they are. And I think our team had that. We cared about each other very much. And that feeling is something that I'm really going to miss without her there. So.
Yeah. No, I know it's a very tough one, and thank you so much to each of you for coming and sort of speaking, because as you were talking, like I could feel the goosebumps because, like for example, when Pia would say that she's sending smoked salmon, it's salmon which she smokes herself, smoked stuff, And says it. And I mean, like you said, I mean, our own lives, I don't think the last 2 years have been easy on anyone. Like I said, I mean, I regret not, I mean, I knew she was unwell and just next door, but you know, we can sort of this thing or see how to sort of celebrate our memories. But I think both Reshmi and you have, you know, beautifully brought alive what she was. Reshmi, I'm going to ask you just one quick question because I'm not sure if I might not have you later. Is there something from her life or your interaction with her which you'd like to sort of take with you in the time ahead? It's a very end of the interview sort of question, but yeah. Reshmi, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. I'm not the anchor who mutes people.
Yeah, no, I just muted myself because I didn't want the household noises.
Yeah, I'm not that person from the east of India.
Okay then. No, Tara touched upon one thing about her, which is that it just, like you said, there was almost like a 4-decade age gap or 3-decade age gap between me and Pia. And maybe the fact that I never, met her in person made it easier for me to not remember that, but it just did not exist, that difference. And I think that is simply because she just continued to have so much zest and passion invested in every moment of every single thing she did. And, I remember her saying that, and you spoke about smoked salmon, and that's what brought it back to me, because last time I spoke to her and, I said, how are you feeling? And she said, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, I'm completely off liquids, and there are a bunch of things I can't eat. And I think longingly about my smoked salmon, and I was saying, okay, eat this, eat that. And she said, no, fat, I'm not allowed to eat, but don't worry, Rashmi, I have enough fat in my body to last me a lifetime. And then she said that if I can't eat my favorite things, then I don't think I would want to continue to live. Or she said something to that extent. But just this intense desire and celebration of life, and in a very childlike way. And she was very eccentric and absolutely unapologetic about her eccentricity. If she didn't take to somebody, she didn't take to them. I had friends who ordered from her and it didn't go well, and she'd get angry with them and they'd get angry with her, and food would not reach, or she would decide to not send it in the last minute or whatever, and they would have a fallout. And all kinds.
I didn't know that.
Oh boy.
I didn't know that.
Always,
Reshmi, it's hard to believe listening to you that you haven't met her, because all the things you're saying about her are so true and so right.
And she still remained friends. She still remained friends with her.
Yeah, and it just shows you that it's that food connection.
Yeah.
It's the food connection.
Food connection, absolutely.
Absolutely. And Kalyan, before I beg off, I just want to say one thing before I beg off, which is that, I feel that in her lifetime, Pia never got the kind of credit for her contributions that she deserved to have got. One time we were talking on the phone and she said to me, they all want these glamorous young people, doing these shows and on their, they want to call them on the dais to talk and on panels. They never call me. And I remember how terrible I felt about that. Because really, we are living in a world where how things look are more important than the content. And that is so wrong, because eventually it's content that takes you forward, that helps you to progress. So I remember when I listened to this, of course, I said, what nonsense, Pia, you just don't get out enough. And
she was such a larger than life personality. I mean, she was made for television. I mean,
you
will know.
When you watch that video, you watch that video, Kalyan,
where she didn't speak, where she didn't speak on camera.
Yeah,
I mean,
she would be wonderful.
That little blink she gave at the end. The little sort of,
she would be wonderful. And so I remember then I used to constantly call her, asking for her opinion on things, for articles I was doing, or, if I had to go on a panel and things like that. But I do feel that, that's why I'm so happy to hear that, they're doing this book and that this book will come out. And I think that she really, we have examples like this in the Indian culinary history of chefs who contributed very quietly, behind the scenes, and never sort of were in the public eye, so to speak. So I'm so happy you're doing this chat, Kalyan, because it's very important for us to catalog people's contributions, to give them their fair due, and to sort of recognize everything they've done, not just because it's important because they did it, but because as you, I've always considered you to be the father of food blogging, in this country.
Oh God, sorry.
Seriously. And you are cataloging things for the future. So all these little, these stops along the road, where special things have been achieved, first time things have been done, it's important for us to catalog them and not just have them only in memory.
True. No, I think, no, thank you. I mean, that's a very good point. And I think all of us are also learning. I mean, everyone's done stellar work here, also cataloging in different ways. I think we're all learning, sometimes it's down the way there are some regrets. But I think Pia would have said that, I think it's more a question of what we can do going ahead. Okay, I'm going to take a little mini break because I think Nimki wants to go out, my cat, and windows are shut. Just give me half a second.
I'm going to beg off. I have to listen to what Manzilat and Anandya have to say because, you guys have such a breadth of knowledge and you knew so well. And I apologize that I have to leave, but I will watch the whole thing when Kalyan puts it together. Thank you so much, guys, for letting me go ahead. Take care.
Thank you. And please be in touch. Okay, Nimki, you're joining us, is it? Okay, maybe he's settled down. Okay, thanks so much, Tara.
I'm going to beg off as well. And I really don't feel like, because I want to hear so much more about Pia and, and I'm so glad you're doing this, Kalyan. It gives one an opportunity to, take a moment off. And in this life, when there are 500,000 things to do, we don't often get the time to just take a moment and think about what somebody has contributed to, to your own life and the world around you and things that matter. And it's given me the time to, ever since we started talking about it, it's given me, a couple of days to think about her, reminisce, and just force me to pause. Sometimes we don't do that deliberately because it's easier to not pause. So it sort of made me do that. So thanks a lot for doing this. I will definitely also be looking forward to the longer session. I'm sorry I can't be here longer.
No, that's absolutely fine. Thanks for joining us. And Rishmi, like you said, I mean, you might be away because you're not blogging, but we can all of us can connect. And this is just a start. I mean, you've already met 4 new people.
Yes, it's been wonderful meeting all of you as well.
So it was an unintentional Bombay first and then Calcutta next. But okay, bye. I'm just going to take a little pause to let her. It was not meant to be a Mumbai and Calcutta chapter, but it's happened that way. But I just feel so privileged and fortunate that people agreed at short notice to come on board. And I'm going to take the conversation in the natural flow because in a way, Reshmi sort of represented people who are the customers, so to speak, of Pia's food endeavors. Tara is someone who's worked with her. And now Tara was speaking of the chefs whom, Pia was sort of encouraging, promoting, showcasing, working with. And we have the good fortune to know many of them, and many of them have been Foodocracy for Her veterans. So I had no second thought about reaching out to Manzilat. I mean, first of all, first person I reached out to, and she said yes. So Manzilat, tell us about your experience with Pia and the event which she was talking of. I'm sure the story started way before the event, but I know it's a very difficult time for you to this thing, but thanks for agreeing to talk with us.
No, not a problem. Well, I can say that I've been very, very fortunate to have connected with Pia, though it was from her side who came to me first when I was in Calcutta. She called me one day and then she asked me that I've heard a lot about you. Tell me something about yourself. Who are you? What are you doing? Like that, you know? Like she was like that, very straightforward. She
That must have
doesn't
been
know me.
surprising to you, Manzila, because that was the time I remember, you know, when the headlines were like, the granddaughter of the Nawab and all of, because then things settled down and, you know, then it was like, you came into your own by your own identity started happening. But at that time, like there was a lot of, and suddenly to have someone calling you up and say, who are you? Must have been.
Yeah, correct. So but it was quite befitting for someone like her asking me, who are you? Like, how come suddenly you have popped up from out of nowhere? So it was great because later on also I did some homework on Pia. I didn't know her so much also. Then she told me that, can you come to Bombay? I would like to do a pop-up with you in my house. So I was very surprised how to do a pop-up in a house. I've never done it in my own house, so how can I do it in somebody else's house in some other city? So she made me very comfortable. She said that, no, it's nothing very different because I keep doing that in my house and you can come and try. If you don't have a place to stay, I can, my house is there for you. So that was the kind of graciousness that she always put across anybody she was in connection with. So I said, no, my children are there. I have a house to stay, but I really don't know how to go about it. Anyway, that's how it started. And she created a pop-up and I could see that at her age, she was more tech savvy than what I am at my age. Like we have a difference of say 22 years. But I felt she was much smarter and more multitasking than I could be, in terms of creating artwork for a pop-up.
Hey, she can come in. Madhushi, who's that? Is that Bishti or Bishti? She can join if she wants. Hi, Bishti. We got future foodocracy for her star. Bishti joining in. Yes.
So when she planned that pop-up at her place, Anand Kot, I was very nervous and excited also. Excited because that was the first of a kind in Bombay. It was like kind of a launch for me there.
Yes.
And I was very nervous because she is the ultimate a home chef could look up to. And I was wondering if she would really appreciate what I'm doing or, endorse the recipes that I'm going to cook in front of her, literally. So, but then she made me very comfortable, and the
How did she make you comfortable? Because like you said, I mean, new city, Bombay, doesn't know much about Awadhi or Calcutta Awadhi cuisine. You're cooking from someone's home, someone you don't know. So is it possible to describe like how she sort of
She made me comfortable because suddenly she made me feel that you are master of your food. Okay. As I am master of so many other things. So you have to tell me what you want, how you want. And this is my kitchen. These are my utensils. You have to use these for your this thing. And if you want, I can get you some more from wherever you want. And she went to the extent of taking me to the marketplace to choose my own meat. She took me to the butcher. She took me to the beef wala, and she used to love my nahari like anything.
Even all of us do.
Yeah, and she kept teasing me for my masalas that, what are you doing? Let me see. You have to give me your secret masalas and all that. So that way she made me very comfortable, as in she was not nosy at all. She used to sit in her living space and tell her boys to help me in whichever way I was wanting my work to be done, but she never tried to come and peep over my shoulder and see, okay, what are you doing, like that. But she kept teasing me, before you leave, please leave all your secret masalas with me. And
Did you?
I will. I will ask, yes, of course. And I will ask my boss the process that you followed, which I knew that she was just doing, to make me
She never did
comfortable.
that. She never did that.
She
Yeah.
never did that. And apart
And I
from
must
that,
say, Manzila, that what you said right now, and Madhushi and Anindya will agree, that she seems like a creative person's dream, because she's hired you or whatever, given you the assignment because she believes in you. Then she steps back. So she says that, you're the person now, whether you're like a writer or a YouTuber or like Anindya and Madhushi are doing some fabulous work with, restaurants and so on, with professional food photography. I mean, somewhere to say that, okay, I recognize your talent, and that's why I've hired the two of you to make my, thing look appealing. But now, I'm going to sit back. I mean, yeah, and for someone who herself is so passionate, that's a lovely thing. Yes,
I would say I would say a lot when the turn comes in, but
Addas we all talk as and when.
In the last few years, we have really come across an apologetic client.
Yeah.
If I consider in that way, right?
Yeah.
She would show you the path. That was, I think that's what's the essence of a mentorship. She would show you the path. If you are not doing right, she would guide you.
Pia.
right.
And again, she would say that sorry, sorry being, and in her own words, you can imagine, all of us, we know the way she would say, sorry being a pain in the wrong area. I don't want to harass you guys. I'm really sorry if I'm making you do this so many times, but it has to be right. There are assignments which teaches you a lot, right?
Yes.
This assignment working with Pia on perhaps one of the gold standard book of Bengali cuisine has made us learn a lot. Also, the way she would look at things which normally we would overlook, and she would say that these are the way things are to happen and everything, right? We will come to that later.
But that's a very good point, and that's what I was in fact thinking, because both of you, as in you and Madhushi and Manzilat, in your own ways, have had opportunities to work with us. And also Manzilat, like, so one was the thing where you worked with home, and then the Bombay gym sort of thing, which was like the top level clients. I mean the members of the who's who of Bombay, and this thing.
Yeah,
how was that?
Was like a godmother to me. She was like a godmother to me. She was introducing me to the elite of Bombay
It's the
gym.
absolute who's who of Bombay. Yeah.
Yes, even for my pop-up, which she did at her residence. I had people like Farzana, I had people like Rushina, I had Smita, and Sheetal Kakkar, and so many home chefs whom I didn't know that time. They were all new to me, and I was cooking and serving them just because they came because Pia told them that she's launching.
I was not in town
me.
that time. Yeah.
That was like, that's why I say that she's my mentor. And that is how she launched me in Bombay. And I got so much of attention and mileage from there on. Like twice I did my pop-up at her residence. And twice I've been to Bombay gym. And never, like she has helped me most unconditionally, most selflessly, never asking for anything in return, not even a mention anywhere. She just does what she wanted to do, but she won't ever expect anything back from you. That is what I have seen from her. And also,
and she didn't even know you. She didn't even know you till,
She didn't even know.
And yet,
she never wanted any kind of recognition. She never wanted any kind of attention through me. So that was the best part. That's the reason why I love her so much, why I respected her so much. And when she came to Kolkata for the first time after, I started my home dining space, I have the photos. She couldn't walk up the stairs, but she made it a point to come. She came to Manzilat's. She waited down in the car. She got off, she just saw the building from downstairs. And she said, sorry, Manzilat, I cannot climb the stairs, otherwise I would have come. I'm sorry.
No, I can completely understand, and I can also no.
I told you I'll break down this.
No, no, I can completely understand. Yeah, and I can assure you that even though she couldn't physically climb up the stairs, but her love and blessings climbed up the stairs with you, and they're going to be with you always. You know, they're going to be always.
That is how she conveyed to me. That is how she conveyed through her gesture that she was there with me. She has been there. She has guided me to start my home dining space. And from her small house in Bandra, I learned that lesson that it's only food and good food that will attract people. It doesn't have to be very lavishly done. It doesn't have to be very gorgeously made. Only the food should taste good, and people will walk up 3 floors and they will walk up hills. So that is what she taught me. And she has been recommending me while being in Bombay. She used to order my food for her sister Rakhi on her birthday, or anybody, any special person who's traveling from Dubai. She used to order that, no, you must make this person taste your food. I want this one to taste your food. And she has been doing that. The last I spoke to her was last week. I was very concerned, and Brevda told me that she's just back from ICU. And I called her, she couldn't talk much. So I just had to talk to Brevda, because that was the last conversation I had.
Thank you so much, Manzila. That's why I said I know it's really
I knew I would.
No, but you know, you showed the same sort of bravery which Pia showed all her life, and that's why she called her husband brave, though it's Barve. But this is it's really your bravery and your love, in return to hers, which I know it was really, I put a lot of pressure on you by asking you to come, but thank you for coming and talking, because I mean, these are facets which people need to know about her, and different dimensions. And I must tell you one thing, that if I mean, you've had a lot of well-deserved acclaim, and whenever I go to Calcutta, I mean, I want to have biryani, I straight away message you. But I'm saying that to get Pia's, for Pia to recommend you to people are things you can, keep as engraved in gold in your memory. But it's a tough time. She's she's left so many lives empty. But
she used to be concerned about her legacy, whether it will be carried forward or not by Rishi.
No, I know.
Telling me the same thing.
No, in fact, now we'll get to know a bit about what her son Rishit and this thing were planning to do it. But I must say that yes, I mean you've mentioned it, Tara's mentioned it, and all of us who've known her knows the fact that there was a certain complexity, or she was a troubled soul at a certain level. But that's what makes her human, right? I mean, if we all pretend to be like perfect, the nicest of people, or most peaceful, or make the best food, then we're not relatable. But it's our little the little infirmities which make us human. So I mean, all of us know this angst, and we've all felt it in our own ways, in our own lives, that are we being appreciated? But Pia, hopefully you'll watch this and share and subscribe and like and recommend it to the people upstairs. But I think this will tell you, and so many other messages and videos and everything coming out, articles, that you were very, very well appreciated and loved.
Yes.
And with that, in fact, I'm going to ask Arinda and Madhushri have been patiently waiting to talk to us about her last project, and which they were working with her. and how that's going to actually, in a way, take Pia's legacy ahead. Over to you guys.
So we've been in touch with, I think we are one of the few people, I don't even know if you are probably, who actually call her Pia D and not Pia, and she's okay with it.
So like she happened to you, or you encountered her, it was by chance encounter with me first. I had written something about Kewpies, and all of a sudden in Facebook, all of a sudden a chat messenger opened up that, do you know even what Kewpies is all about? In a trademark way. Here is Pia, and then she shared about her and everything. I remember calling her ma'am, and she said, oh ma'am, just forget it. Okay. Call me Pia Di or Pia at best, right? In fact, Rishit also always used to call her Pia, not even mom. There is a nice story and she shared with her. It's very emotional when you get to work on a book by Kewpie Dasgupta, who is being considered as one of the gold standard in Bengali cuisine and Bengali recipe book, right? And through Pia Di in her last days. So we literally have been in touch with her on a regular basis. There have been times when I have
So tell us a bit about this project first, so that we get, I mean, all of us are discovering, even I discovered in the WhatsApp chat group I've created for this.
It was just one of the days, I think in last year, in November or December, I just pinged her, you know, just to ask her how she's doing, and because I've not been seeing her on Facebook that much, because all of a sudden she was off Facebook.
Yeah, she had a couple of heart attacks early this year.
No, this is much before that.
Even before that, okay.
This was November, December.
Yeah.
I think just after Diwali or after Bijoya, we were wishing
So then
her.
she said that, no, I'm just off social media. I don't feel like going. I don't feel like doing that, but I'm busy. I'm in Goa. And
yeah, she was in Goa, yes.
Yeah. So I'm working on this book, you know, my mother's book. It's
I
gone
will take
out of
this
print.
opportunity to show this.
Please.
Which is there. The last copy, it's still written, published by Jaya Chalia, 1 Sunny Park, Calcutta.
So the original, I mean, this is the original.
Yeah, this is the last original copy, which is, this is Pia's copy. The first Pia's copy.
So she couriered it to you guys?
Yes. And it's written the classic presentation.
Can you? You're reading it. Otherwise, okay, fine. Later you. No, read it. Read it.
Classic presentation of a traditional Bengali meals, right? And she couriered it. It's written in memory of my mother Shantilata Ghosh, who taught me to appreciate my heritage. Kewpie Dasgupta writes, I dedicate this book to my husband and my children, Pia Promina, Chandradeep, and Rakhi Purnima, my severest critics and greatest admirers. So we all can understand that how close this project was with her, and we feel honored.
So is this like a new edition?
Yes, this book has gone out of print.
It's gone out of print, and they had lost all the photographs. You know, the original printers, they didn't have it. And Rishit wanted this legacy to be alive. Rishit wanted this to...
Rishit is Pia's son. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He wanted, you know, to carry this forward and have another version of it in a more modern way with a modern approach, so that it appeals to the current generation with, you know, new photographs and things like that. So as she was discussing it, I just said that, Piyadi, why, you know,
because by that time we had done 2 cookbooks.
We had already done 2 cookbooks.
Yeah, so you guys, you must follow the Picture Nama page on Instagram, Twitter, everything, because it's just amazing over the last 2 years, the diversity of work which they're doing. I mean, on the one hand, with restaurants, with chefs like Vikramjit, and the cookbooks, and of course the YouTube channel where they're showing Bengali food in a way modern generation will appreciate. But that's important. Yes, go ahead.
Yes. So I told her, Piyadi, you know, it's Bengali food. First of all, it's Bengali food. You have the pass on the recipes to me. I know my food. I know to cook. So,
I think we got a little bit carried away at that point of time, because carried away in the sense that I think we had literally offered her that you don't need to, you know, the things which happen, that you get to do a net practice with Sachin Tendulkar. You say, you need not do anything, just take me in. I want to breathe that air.
We want to be part of this project. I don't care.
Because it's like a lifetime stamp on you that you get to be a part of this project where the entire Dasgupta family, Kewpies, gets involved, and it's a book of Meenakshi Dasgupta. we started the words, and finally, luckily, it was all her good wishes also. Things fell in place. But before that, a lot of interactions used to happen with Pia and me, and I was just going through the chat. I think she would kill me for, I'm sure she's listening, she would kill me. She is a fun aunt, which we always used to have in our life, right? You want
like
to
PC, like a
Chotomasi
or a PC. Yeah.
I know your show doesn't admit few things, but you want to bum off a white stick, you know, or you want to bribe your aunt to take you for a glass of beer or something. Pia always okay, come and join me in Goa. We will have beer and maj bhaja.
And especially a Bengali aunt, I think.
Yes, she was that fun aunt. I was in Italy for World Slow Food Conference. All of a sudden, a message comes. Which part of Italy you were in? What are you doing there? Did you know that I was also a part of it? It started from Calcutta, and then I was going through it. She apparently had made some 4 kgs of labra in Goa, and she was saying is that if I make 4 kgs of labra in Goa at my house, also everyone loves it and everyone will wipe it off. But let me remind you, I am a shortcut running.
She would say. So she would admit to being shortcut running. Like on social media, everyone will say, no, you go to the khet and get the chili and let it ripen.
Yes.
Then you grind it, then you take it out, then you squeeze the sorse seeds to make your sorse.
Yes.
What are you saying? Pressure cooker and powder and all of that.
and that was.
You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
We know.
Manjunath, you know what I'm saying.
We will tell you. We will tell you. We will come to a chapter to that. But then, there are a lot of places where she had said that I am a shortcut runny, and very rarely we find this wisdom coming to people. Perhaps only the ones who are very, very self-assured that they can pull on a joke on themselves. Right? She used to do that. She used to say that, let me give you one more granny advice. And these are all the things you're discussing about kosha mangsho and khichuri. My khichuri is like that. Your khichuri would be like this. You should add on sugar. These are the granny advices and stuff like that. Right?
Arindo's, of course, world famous for his kosha mangsho, which he did during the pandemic.
Yeah. So from there, the connection started. Incidentally, we met Pia at Sunny Park in Bali, Queen's Park. In Baliganj, which is again one of the most posh areas of Calcutta. She
of course,
meal for us. I still remember.
And it's an unforgettable meal, Kalyan. I mean, now when I'm hearing everyone, I'm like, I wish I was in Bombay and I wish I had eaten.
Hi. How are you? You've got a little friend here. Wait, let me show you. Let me show you who's come to see you. Can you see him?
Look, cat. Look, cat.
Oh my God, Dinky.
No, that was Baby Loaf. Dinky's outside that window trying to come in. That was Baby Loaf.
So
it was at Queen's Park, and she had cooked up a complete Bengali meal, chitol mach, and trust me, Kollan, I have never had such delicious chitol mach patty.
Wow.
Chol ever. It was so good. And I still remember she after the meeting went into the room and she's like, I've got to hide and smoke, you know. I don't want anyone to know cooking.
And this was
she was with family, is it?
Yes. Yeah, this was the point of fight between her and me always, like a very caring nephew of hers. Every time I was to pick up the phone and ask that, have you reduced? Please shut it, forget it, and let's talk something else, right?
For that matter, you know, once she was out of the hospital the first time, Rishit had sent a message to everyone
that please don't tell her.
Do not tell her about not smoking, because if you do, then she will smoke more.
To make it a point.
Because she was one of those firebrand women who was never ready to hear no. Right.
Yeah. I mean, she's so archetypal. She's so archetypal. Kolkata, you know, South Calcutta, Jadavpur.
You know, I would like Jandrel Mohila, bole na Jandrel Mohila.
Okay.
She was in such a great way.
But with a large, I must take this opportunity over here to share that it was very, very emotional. The day we heard the news, we had literally shut ourselves off from social media. We didn't walk.
I can imagine. Even I was like,
keeping very close touch with her ailment, how she is, and when we can plan the next shoot, right? it's sad, Rishit. Next morning we called up Rishit and I had an hour-long chat, right? It was just last few chapters were left. Rest all were approved. She was very, very critical, and in the sense that she was very, very critical. Yes, yet she was very, very positive about what picture and how they should look like. But what Rishit said was very, very important in this sense when we are celebrating the human as well as the food, that when it was her funeral, right, from her mechanic to her pork supplier to an ex-RBI deputy governor to her cigarette supplier to chicken supplier to Rishit's friends, everyone came in. So Pia touched lives in so many people that everyone remembered and they came in. That showed. And Rishit said that everyone is asking me about Chotha and everything. I said that forget it. Pia would have never loved it. What I would do is that we are planning that we would do a grand meal, and we will call the friends and close relatives. And for a change, which was my point of fight with Pia every time, that she would always cook more than one can consume, we will cook loads and loads of food just to celebrate her. You know,
I think that's such a beautiful point which you brought to life, because sometimes, you know, when we interact with each other, and because the show is called Foodocracy, we think of maybe food and all of that, but the thing is that we're all human beings, and there's so many aspects, and the fact to be able to and thanks for sharing this. I mean, I was with Viral, so I couldn't go there, but I can just imagine the scene and the fact that, I mean, like what Reshmi spoke of, Manzilat, Tara, that she was so generous in giving, in whether it's giving food or giving ideas or giving hope.
Everything.
Giving encouragement.
And again, there are occasions, there are WhatsApp and Messenger chats where she, at her age, with her experience, she never hesitated twice to even ask things from me. All of a sudden, she would ask, where do I get original Gandharaj? I said that, what is original Gandharaj? He said that, she said that the one that you get in Paschim Bongo. That was sense of humor. She would say that, what would you do with prawn? Suggest me a recipe. I have got these 3 kilos of prawn which I've got from Bombay to Goa, and I'm thinking of some not to do malai curry or something. Yes, these are all the incidental chats which would happen.
No, I would have her chats about her childhood in Kolkata, and then she would say things about, you know what, you know, while we were growing up, we never had luchi and our Sundays were brunches.
Yeah.
And like a gala brunch of, you know, liver pate and roasts and, you know, all kinds of fancy stuff, which in those days we couldn't even think of. You know, for us, it was only in storybooks. But that kind of
enlightened books. Okay, I'm just going to pause for a second, because Nimki is going to have a heart attack, otherwise he's trying to come in from the box window with the... So we are back. I've let Nimki in, and I see that we've gone well beyond the time which I told everyone. But that's really what an adda at Pia's place would be.
I also have to say one.
You have to say many things. Why one thing?
One more thing.
And Anindra, you're going to keep quiet. This is Foodocracy for her.
You will let me speak.
You will let her speak.
But we are celebrating a woman, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's women.
So, you know, one more thing I have to say. No matter what, you know, even though, okay, there was a schedule on a day, we would take these photos, she would be so considerate, because she would know that, you know, I've got 2 children also at home. And she would be so considerate, like, are you sure you can do this? Are you sure, you know, the kids are well settled? Because, you know, as you feed them and you make sure they're well settled, only then we'll start. She was so concerned about it, and she would always ask.
That is true. Even I agree. Whenever I visited Anandpur, that was, you know, her house was the only place where I could commute alone, like take a cab from Warsaw and come to Bandra alone. And most of the time she made it a point to book Ola for me at her expense, and make sure that she is tracking where I'm reaching. And then she call me and say, you have reached now, your children are okay now, fine, happy, like that. And she was really concerned. She always packed food for my children. She made eclairs for them innumerable times. When I was going to Goa once, when Aman was in Goa, she made a special cake. It was full of nuts. It was the most amazing cake. I'll share the photo on Facebook very soon. That cake, she made amazing cake and the eclair. But I've had innumerable meals at her place while I was cooking for my pop-up. She used to cook meals for me. Yeah. And the best part, the best take from her meals was, apart from the food and the taste of the food, her boys used to sit with us.
Yes.
She was always, she said, I always eat with my boys. I don't have that thing in my mind. They are helping me in the kitchen, so they will eat in the kitchen. It's nothing like that. We used to sit together in one table and eat our meals. Mostly it was lunch and very late dinners. And
I completely agree. And you would not even think that they are her helpers or whatever. Like, when you go to her house, I mean, I completely agree.
And when Parvati was very sick, her female helper, she used to be very concerned because Parvati had probably served her mother also. So she was very attached to the helpers.
Aurindu, any famous last words before I ask you guys the last question?
We must talk about the smoked hilsa.
Yeah, but smoked hilsa. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, why just smoked salmon? Why not smoked salmon? Smoked hilsa.
You can speak about your pop-up experience when you had gone.
So when we were in Bombay for the mustard pop-up, that time her husband was not well, so she couldn't come for the pop-up. But she called and she said that I want to taste your food. Can you just send so and so? She ordered some stuff. And I still remember that she liked the, the chingri, kumro chingri hath piche so much that when she came here to Queen's Park, she told all her cousins about my food. And she told them that, you know what, whenever you want to order food, you order from her. She's a fantastic.
Can you imagine? Wow.
Just order from her. She's a fantastic cook. So,
these are like so much things about a person who was so self-assured that we take out from the entire discussion today we had for an hour. We can see that at any point of time, right? She has never held back herself in promoting someone who is genuinely doing a good.
I mean, both of you, Manzilat and Madhushri, both of you are, live examples of people.
Which is so rare that she has gone ahead, she has promoted and stuff like that, right? Yes. Last interactions.
In fact, I must say, sorry, Anindra, sorry to interrupt you for a second. That I must say that in the last few days or the week, there have been quite a few instances of people messaging me about her passing away or the cremation and all that, and then saying that and these are people whom I didn't know, but they said that we thought you should know because she would always speak very fondly of you and very highly of you. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, you guys have all been in touch with her over the last period. I've not been actually, but
so we have been in the sense that
out of hospital.
No, but I'm saying that despite that, I mean,
and she was so full of spirit, Kolan. We would tell her that, Piyati, take rest, you get better, then we will start working. No, I need to work. If I don't work, I'll feel terrible.
Literal sweet way, like Mama Bear bulldozed her doctors, right? Rishit always used to say that if Pia is shouting or harassing her doctors, that means that is nurses. That means that she's recovery, right? But her doctors fell in love with her. There is this young chap which Rishit was sharing that he was in Italy and he kept checking with Rishit that how is Pia, and they used to give time to her, right? Last I remember that we had left her a message that I personally, because I had a personal connect with her, she had her own personal connection. I said that Piyadi, come back soon. We love you a lot. I am missing you around and all the stuff, right? This was just before 10 days, I think, before a week before when we had our last interaction over a shoot. And that would be the final sum up story for me, which will always be etched in our mind. We were smoking smoked hilsa, right?
Okay, as in the smoking, as in the food way of smoking it. No, it is called smoking.
sorry. We were shooting.
Smoking the ilish. Yeah, it's
right?
not this way for non-food people. That's
so we were shooting smoked hilsa. We had got the hilsa. Somehow the color and everything was not up to her.
Of the raw hilsa, or it was
raw hilsa. No, and the thing is that I told Piyadi right in the beginning that Piyadi, I have never smoked and deboned a hilsa before. I have just Bengali recipes. I've never done this, so you will need to handhold me for this. Every step of the way, I'm going to we're going to figure out how to do this. And she explained the whole thing to me. She sent me a voice note also with the explanation on how to do it. The recipe was with me. Still, she explained it and how to exactly debone it. She told me everything in detail. Right after that, only she went to the hospital.
And for some strange reason, we struggled on that for quite a lot, for quite a good period of time. And then came that famous thing where we wanted to take a break, and I knew that if I say that taking a break and everything, she might get offended. She was also ailing, right? So I sent her a voice message that Piyadi, ami khabar khabo, please allow me to take a break. And it was evening. That was Piyadi, which will be etched in my mind. She sent me a voice message, and as I had written on my Facebook post, like college friends, we started exchanging voice message note. She said that, what is the jol khabar? I am.
What are you eating at the break? What was the jol khabar?
So my jol khabar was, as usual, some chops and cutlets, right? So Piyadi said is that I love my chicken wings, but I don't like this from KFC. And she went on, and then she said, started discussing about Chandanagar. She said that, when we were kids, we were said that not to have tele bhaja. Tele bhaja is very bad. But have you learned French in your school since you are from Chandanagar? So we had such a close discussion. She said that we were taught in our school to say Shadanagar. In short, Shandy. Do you call it Shandy or Chandanagar?
I didn't know this.
Conversation we had, and then in the hospital, she told Rishit, she sent a voice note also. Guys, I'm really sorry. I harassed you on that day. Why are we breaking even our head on this? Go to Bengal Club or go to Mocambo, pick up a
smoked hilsa.
Pick up a smoked hilsa, shoot it, and then in her own Pia touch, she said that, and then please enjoy the food. Don't let it go waste. I would love to get your feedback how they're making it now. That is Piyadi. That is Piyadi.
Yeah. So Madhushri, my invite from both of you to your house is you've been inviting me. It's never just been worked out. Can I expect some smoked hilsa? I'll start to you. Yeah. Yes. And no worries. I will no comparison with what Pia would make. I think whatever you guys will make will be like a gift of love from Pia. Manzilat, any closing thoughts which you would like to? You've been listening to the whole thing, and you've anything which you would like to sort of highlight, any memory or anything further which you from what you've shared. Anything you'd want to tell Pia which maybe you've not.
Whatever I am today as a home chef, I owe a lot to Pia, and she knew it because I kept telling her this, and she kept saying, "You don't say this. It's because you cook so well. You are where you are today." But I kept telling her, I feel good that at least I could tell her, and there are people who should have told her when she was around, rather than saying things about her now that she's not here. You need to appreciate people when they are still around and not regret later. I did my bit. I have appreciated her. She knew I loved her lots. I'll always love her.
No, I think that's it's a very I think it's a very pertinent point which you've made, and I think that's something which we are all feeling in our own lives. As this has been a tough time, and people have lost near and dear ones, and one often feels that after the passing away is when the feelings come and are expressed. But why is it not expressed before? So Pia, I hope that you're realizing that how much, I won't say you were, but I'm saying how much you are loved. You know, they were talking about you as this, you know, this friendly aunt. So I know that I've also been like this downpite maybe, or mischievous or difficult to sort of this thing nephew. We've you know, we've had our moments, we've had our disagreements, we've had this thing. We've not been in touch in the last few months, whatever be the reasons. But that aside, I think that going ahead, it's really about celebrating your memories, and your memories stay alive in Manzilat's biryani, and the future pop-ups which you know, Tara might do with home chefs at the Bombay Gym or elsewhere, or in the photographs which Anindo and Madhushree take, and hopefully the smoked ilish and the chitol machar peti which they're going to feed me when I meet them, or every time, like, you know, Reshmi thinks of, orders crab and then thinks of this person who would send an overabundance of it. You will be there in the memory of many, and you know, our best wishes to Brave and to Rishit, and we're looking forward to the book. So thank you, thanks, and for those who are watching, like, if you have memories, please sort of put it in the comments column, because, you know, it's really about remembering Pia in all our own ways, and this is the small attempt. So thank you, Manzila, thank you, Madhushree, Anindo, thank you, Tara, Reshmi, for being there, and thanks for watching. And as as the book says,
fantastic.
Thank you. And as the book says, I mean, so long and thanks for all the fish.
We can't wait for the book to come out also. Yes.
No, I'm saying the book, so long and thanks for all the fish. I think it's a sort of thing to someone who fed us ilish. I think she was the one who first fed me ilish with tetul and the smoked salmon and whatnot. All the best for your book. And Manzilat, I'm sure that the orders which went out today from you, and which is why you took a few minutes to join us, would taste even that much more special. And don't worry, I'm pretty sure that even if she's physically not climbed up, she has been to the third floor.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course she is.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Kalyan, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
And Pia, we all miss you. Thank you.